Hello, Luke from Korg here. I'm here at the Gear4music studios and we're checking out the Minilogue XD. It's our brand new analog synth, part of the analog range, but it's got a digital oscillator in there. So that's brought over from our Prologue, as is the bigger OLED display, the amazing effects section, which we'll look at in a minute. We've got a new joystick, which is now an XY joystick. We've got a new portamento control. And of course, we've got the multi-engine. So that allows us to have digital sounds alongside our analog stuff. So let's dive in and really have a listen and get in depth with what's going on with this unit. So, does analog sounds really well, of course. So I've got this amazing oscilloscope in front of me. So that means that I can just basically get a visual representation of my sound and get that feedback about what I'm doing, not just in an audio way, but in a visual way as well. So that's really actually very useful when I'm designing sounds. And you can design all types of different sounds on here. And there's some really great presets as well to get you started. So using the multi-engine, for example, you can get completely different sounds like that sort of thing. So, and then you can change the oscillator in the multi-engine. To get some really nice variety of sounds. And of course you can combine them as well. I said about the new joystick, so this is now an XY joystick, and what that means is that we've got pitch bend on the X-axis usually, and then on the Y-axis it's completely programmable. So I can have a nice kind of thick lead sound like this. Obviously I can do pitch bend. But I can also shape my sound. And kind of feel my way through the sound with the joystick, so it's very expressionful as well. New filter as well in the Minilogue XD. So the filter is derived from the Prologue, so you now have a drive circuit in there as well. So let's just turn that off. Got a nice bass sound there. Lots of bottom end in this filter as well. And of course, when you start driving it, you can start making it sound quite angry as well. One of the voice modes is called the Arpeggiator. So we've got poly, 4-note poly, unison, 1 note, chord, which will play a chord, and then Arpeggiator, which will arpeggiate whatever notes I play. You can also latch it by making it flash there. And it will latch really, really nicely. But what's really cool about the Arpeggiator is the fact you can then record those notes into the sequencer, because you've got a 16-step sequencer built into the Minilogue, and there's loads of amazing patterns already pre-programmed per different patch or program. So what that means is that if you've got a sound like that Arpeggiator, and then you play back the sequence, which has already been recorded, you get these really nice, long, evolving patterns with lots of chord changes. So then we're back to the beginning, and as you can hear, that's a really long loop. Even though there's a lot of notes, because the tempo is really slow, we can get these beautiful, slow, evolving patterns. Or you can, in the sequencer there, just record control data and no notes, which means when you play and just press play on the sequencer, all the filters and all the other parameters could be changing by themselves while you're just playing whatever notes you want. So there's different approaches to use this sequencer. Let's talk about the effects now. So we've got 3 effects blocks in here. We've got modulation effects, reverb effects, and delay effects, and lots of different types of each. And what's great is that you can layer the 3 together. So it's very, very powerful to create a massive kind of soundscapes or evolving sounds using the effects. So let's give you an example. I've got just a nice pad here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start adding some modulation effects to that. So I've selected modulation there, and now I'm going to select ensemble. And as you can see, I can change the time and the depth. Phaser. Flanger. So you've got loads of hands-on control, and there are more parameters you can deep dive. If you press Shift, you can then even change the different types of that particular effect that you're on. So there's so much in there. So you've also got, as well as that, great reverbs. So let's select reverb here. I'm going to play back a sequence this time. Let's try out some different reverbs. So that's called a space reverb, but you've also got things like riser, where the sound will rise, or submarine. Where you've got more bottom end to that effect as well. And of course you've got delays, really nice delays, and if you want they can be tempo sync, so BPM sync to the sequencer, like this for instance. So you can hear that that delay is nicely in time with your sequence. And of course we've got motion sequence as well, and motion mode now has its own dedicated button on the panel. So if I press that, we can see in this particular pattern I've got here, I've got lots of motion going on. So if we play it back, you'll be able to hear how that sound evolves. And the way that you record this is you just press play, then record, and then you can perform your actions in, and you've got 4 lanes, as you can see here. So you can get some lovely shape to your patterns and really make them evolve beyond what's going on with the notes and sometimes the effects. And then if you take that to the extreme, you can get stuff like this going on, where if I press motion mode, you'll see. You can literally just kind of create percussion instruments by opening up the resonance and the filters and things like that on specific steps. And the way you do that, you can see there on the screen, it's kind of spiking out on these individual little patterns, steps in the pattern. And then if I hold down a step and then turn something, you can see I can step in individual parameters really easily. So that's a completely different approach to making patterns. You can make them quite choppy like that very easily. So there we have it, the Minilogue XD, an amazing sounding synth. If you want to find out any more information about this or any other Korg product, swing over to the Gear4music website and you can find all the information there. Thanks for watching.